Happy August. It's Friday, August 1st. I am having a problem with my headphones. I can't hear myself. So if I don't have enough pump, enough energy, it's because I'm frustrated, and it's not the Apple device that I'm on. I need to reset this. I did some things yesterday with chain stuff, and I can't hear myself in my headphones. So my headphones, essentially, it's an effing prompt. I can pull this thing out, and nothing happens. Nothing. So again, what am I doing? We're going to talk about a big show. Market overview. Trump is out there. Hold on. I'm going to plug back these things back in because the actual noise cancellation works a little bit. It helps me out a little bit. We're going to talk about market overview, Trump catalyst. The Epstein list still hasn't been released, so expect chaos. Alpha picks, 6 rules for scalping the alpha pick today at noon. Okay, many subscribers 2 weeks ago made 10%. Figma IPO, what happened? What was good? I can talk about it now. I know some things. We can look at things. Stocks that still have an opportunity, like the trading desk, we will go over earnings. Fire tips. Stay tuned for this one if you want to retire early, because this is a good one. It's a discussion with the 4% rule guy. And your weekend homework. This should not be missed. This are 7 things that you should be doing. 6 things, I forget. But it's 6 or 7 things that you should be doing this weekend 100%. It's August. Everybody looked like a genius in July. Okay? Everybody put out their 0-day options. Everybody made a ton of money. Everyone felt great in the bull market. Okay? Valuations have caught up. Is that sinking in with the market? You have earnings this week where the stocks bounce and they can't hold it. Tariffs are back in the news. The world is no longer focused on a Coldplay concert where an affair was exposed. You're going to have gorilla testicles to alpha the market right now. Will you be buying the dip? I mean, that's the real question. Will you be buying the dip? Or 3 months from now, 6 months from now, I don't know. Will you be saying, oh, I should have bought more during that dip? Will it be 5 days from now? Who knows? Trump is continuing his tirade against Powell. Okay? He's continuing his tirade against Powell with a tweet this morning that the FOMC board should take over. Okay? FYI, there were 2 dissents, and they clarified this morning. They think the job market may weaken. We got jobs payrolls this morning. They're fine. They're fine. It's not like everyone thinks there are these rates should be lower. Only 2 people dissented. Yes, that's a big deal because it's historic. But like I said yesterday, the last time they lowered rates was September. Go and look at the bond market in September. I'm not going to show you this information. I want you to go look at it, because if you're screaming and you're on Trump's side, they should lower. Go and look at what happened. Right now you have a great economy. These earnings are coming in really, really well. If rates are lowered, maybe you spike the economy. Maybe you drive inflation higher. So be careful what you wish for, because the bond market will be in control. And then what did he do overnight? He issued 100% tariff across the world. Why not? Why not? Again, these are random tariffs, and the market's reacting with a down day. If you believe the taco trade is it, then you buy the dip. But you need to expect chaos. Again, Trump urges the Fed board, assume control if Powell doesn't cut rates. And I don't know, the poly market estimates are that we will get a rate cut in September. I don't know. There's a lot of data that can come in between now and September. Don't count on it. Expect chaos. Now I'm going to go over all the earnings. We've got Apple, Amazon, Cloudflare, Coin, Rocket, Roku. All of that I'm going to go over at closer to the end. But I want to point to you the greatest bottom teller of all time. Jim Cramer tears up and apologizes on TV for trusting Mark Zuckerberg. The hubris. The hubris. Everybody remembers that clip. Meta, that was 2022, traded down to $98. Okay? 3 years later, $777. It's the greatest bottom of all time. The stock I suggested in the newsletter over the weekend, where Perplexity found it, again, the stock that I recommended over the weekend, where Perplexity found it, we can go and we can look at the paid one. Unlocking AI's power for stock trading, finding winning stocks and crypto ETFs. This is where I found it. The stock I suggested, it's up 10%. If you bought it on Monday, you're up 10%. Now, me, I'm buying and holding. That particular one that I found, I'm buying and holding. And I will buy the dip again. I'm not that skilled to trade this one, okay? I am not that skilled to trade it. The biggest movers in my portfolio yesterday, it was Meta. Meta's one of them. This was up 11%. It's down 1% today. Do not complain about down 1%. The 4-hour algorithm got you in at 775. You're trading at 765. The 4-hour algorithm wins 46% of the time. So it's like a coin flip almost, 26 positions. Doesn't beat buy and hold. I am buying and holding. The other big mover, I went in, by the way, Meta, I went in big in April. I said $521 for a stock that compounds and just prints cash. I'm going in. I'm up big since that April buy. And again, I'm not selling. I am not following the 4-hour algorithm. If you want protection, the 4-hour algorithm is yours. But Meta is one that I've got big. And another one that I've got big is an alpha pick. AAPL. This one was up like 10% or 7% yesterday. It's down 2%. I am riding this 4-hour algorithm buy at 346. I like this gap up here at 417. If it hits 400, I'll probably trim it. So if you're going to ask me, should I buy or sell? That's not a question or you should ask me. That's your decision. And speaking of alpha picks, again, we've got an alpha pick this afternoon at noon. If you are a subscriber, what you should do. These are the 6 steps that you should do to try and scalp this one. Again, this is not a suggestion. If you are brand new to trading, do this on paper. Do this at Savvy Trader. Say, okay, I'm going to buy at this price, and don't risk your money or risk $10. Risk something that you're going to spend on lunch, but don't go in big thinking, oh my God, I'm going to throw a bunch of money into this and I'm going to make out, because there's some rules around this. Okay? The actual alpha picks right there. You're going to go to that site. You're going to go to the website. Don't wait for the email. Do not wait for the email. That's the first rule. Go to the website at 11:58 and start refreshing. If the pick is a small cap that's under $500 million, it should move higher. The market cap of these stocks are sometimes very small, which means the buys push them higher. Okay? Then you're going to go to your favorite charting program. It might be TrendSpider, might be TradingView, might be Webull, might be anything that you want. But pull up a 1-minute or a 5-minute chart. Okay? We'll just look at this one, AAPL, and we'll look at some of the after hours moves of AAPL. See how it crashes here? This is called confirmation. Okay? I use a 9-day EMA as confirmation. Again, if you don't know what that is, you're not qualified to spend money and to trade this one. But once it get confirmation, once it loses confirmation, even if it's a 1% gain, get out. Don't linger in this trade too much. We've seen these picks quickly settle and the volume goes down. So there are your 6 rules. I'll put them in the newsletter for you if you don't know. And the newsletter will be out by noon. It should be out around 10, 11 o'clock. Again, you can go to dailystockpick.substack.com or just go to Linktree. You can sign up. It's down there if you don't know, they can't remember the name. But again, 6 rules. Go to the website. If the pick is a small cap, pull up a 1-minute chart, wait for confirmation. Don't linger in the trade. Now, TQQQ. This was a trade, a seasonal trade. We said July was seasonally strong. We're seeing a little bit of weakness today. I got out yesterday. I got out with a solid gain. Okay? I said it was a seasonal trade. I'm going to hold it. It's August. I wanted to get out. I didn't want to wait for the 4-hour algorithm. You need to do your research. You need to know what you're trading. We're down today. We saw yesterday Microsoft couldn't hold the gains, even though in a record quarter. I said, you know what? When I saw that one and I saw weakness in the market, I wanted to get out of this trade. I got out. Solid day. Solid gain. Remember, the tools I have, the journaling that I do, I know what I'm doing. So please don't ask me what you should do, because the reality of it is I got into this at about like $80, somewhere around there. Maybe it was 79 or so. I didn't get in at this 78, 88, but I got in a little bit later. And I knew when I was going to sell. I knew after 10%, I was going to hold on. And if it dipped down a little bit, I was going to sell. Dipped down yesterday and I sold. So before you buy, journal, okay? And have your toolkit ready. I used shorter charts. I used a 5-minute chart yesterday. And I said, you know what? Once it lost its confirmation, I just want to sell. And it was at $90. If you had your toolkit, you know. And yesterday was a day that I was watching the chart. So again, before you buy, go and get the toolkit. The toolkit is TrendSpider. I have TrendSpider. You can have any charting program that you want. Just make sure you have a chart if you're going to do things like this. The second toolkit that I have is the Premium and Alpha Picks bundle, where you save $159. Again, it's at Linktree. TrendSpider's the top one. And this, for about, $1,500, $1,300, somewhere around there I was spending when I was a paying customer. I have the toolkit. I can make that back. I made that back in one trade. One trade. And again, that's the way I work things. But you need to do you. Now, the market. Are we seeing a bubble? Do you have your toolkit available? Do you know what stocks you own? Marko Klanovic is sounding the alarm from JP Morgan. We're overstretched. Are you going to listen to him? Are you going to sell out? Or are you going to hold? Remember, I held Microsoft since 2005. I am different than you. I don't know many people that may have been able to do that. It was dead money for 10 years. 10 years. I basically got back to even 10 years. Now, that's not great portfolio management. I am not a great portfolio manager. I beat the S&P. This was not a major position. I believed in the thesis. And so if you're going to believe these people about the actual bubble and that we're coming down, well, the reality of that is you better know when to get back in. Because long-term buy and hold makes you the most. It has been proven just through statistics. The more you trade, the less your return is over time. So understand that. But it doesn't mean go out, just if you've got something like Figma yesterday. Let's talk about this, because this was an IPO that I got tons, probably 30, 40, maybe even 100 emails about. Some of them I just wrote back, not going to cover it. So if you got a little more explanation, you should feel lucky. But again, Fig opened up. If you got in on the offering at $33, kudos. Traded up to like 120. It opened at 95. So anybody that had a market order in, hey, I want to buy Figma, and it was halted several times, good luck. Because you didn't know what it was going to do. Because 95, by the way, $95 is like 50 something times sales. It's crazy. But I was watching it. This is the Fidelity Active Trader app. Again, I was in there. Now it erupted. IPO launch, more than tripling in its open moments. Again, that's crazy. But realize there are people out there with $33 a share. And at 110, we can go and look at Fig here on the chart and look at like the 1 minute chart on this one because it's not going to get a 4 hour. Let's see. Figma. There we go. Was this a SPAC or something? No, something's going on there, but it's funky. But this is where it opened up at about 85, 90 bucks. We're trading in pre-market up to 140. It's up 20%. So if you got in on this one, kudos. Just understand it's expensive. Now, here's what I was watching yesterday. As this popped, Bill Gurley posted this great thing. With Fig having another massive IPO, they refused to. This is basically market manipulation right here. Okay, what banks are doing is giving their as a high net worth guy. I was offered shares, and I think in Robinhood you're offered shares even if you're not high net worth. You're offered shares from the IPO, and you're offered at $33. Now, if you get in, great, but most people can't. But there are large, very wealthy people who are in at 33. And by the way, they can sell because the banks are the ones who need to hold this, but they can sell. The question is, what do these banks do? And again, if you're Figma and you IPO and you sell some of your shares at 33, and then it goes to $140. The difference between a 33 and 140 is the amount of money that you left on the table that market participants get. Your company doesn't get. If you were to go out there and to issue more shares, maybe that would tank the price. You know what? I believe this is the thing. How much do you think a banker missed out in the IPO demand 3 times? Time for AI to take over the industry. I believe it's tokenization. And you know what I believe? I believe that's an investment in Hood. Hood is leading the charge on tokenization. And by the way, Hood's under 100. Am I going to buy it? I am going to buy it when the 4-hour algorithm tells me to. Right now, I don't know. My guess is that the 4-hour algorithm is going to sell it at some point in time over the next couple of days. I'm going to be patient. I want this one under $100. Am I going to rush into it? No. The valuation for me is just a little too high. It's not on one of those where it dips 5% and I'm going to automatically buy it, because if this was trading at about $60, which I do believe is going to be a support. Look at the previous all-time high in February, $65. If we get back there, that's where I'd like to buy it. And it's not unrealistic to think that we could get back there in a very bad market. So a big deal that I'm looking at and that I'm kind of nervous about is this, and it's not getting talked about. I brought it up from the Catalyst email last week. The appellate judges questioned Trump's authority to impose tariffs without Congress. This was a hearing that happened on Wednesday. It was Wednesday or yesterday. It's a big deal. I brought this up and I read it in the Catalyst Watch, which is the weekly email from Seeking Alpha. This is likely going to the Supreme Court, and it's whether tariffs are actually legal from the Trump. And they were super, super focused on, hey, why does the president have this power in emergency power? And Trump's lawyers fired back. And then the appellate court said, well, it doesn't even mention the word tariffs. So if this goes to the Supreme Court, I wouldn't say it's a given that Trump wins. It's something you should know. I was listening to a legal expert say, hey, this isn't we know the progressive judges are most likely going to say Trump doesn't have the power to do this. And just a couple of the conservative judges flipping and saying, yeah, we don't want that power with the executive branch. That belongs with the congressional branch. Well, if these get pushed back to Congress, guess what happens? All of these tariffs get thrown out and they're illegal. And don't expect the market to say, oh my God, that's a great thing. I don't know what the market reaction would be, because that's uncertainty. Because again, do you think Congress is going to pass something that's bringing in billions of dollars? And what's the certainty? Again, it's chaos. So I want you to remember that. Now let's get into a couple of stocks, okay, that I've brought up as well from a lot of other things. The trading desk. This is one that's trading at a high multiple. It's down 3% at 83. I have brought this up. Ever since that $71, I brought this up. If this entered in over 85, that I thought we would cover this gap. That I thought would happen before August, okay? That was going to be a 68% move. That was going to be a huge one to even get back up to this 97, 98, which was going to be a sell for me. We're in that gap. So if you're buying this one on the gap, I would have a super, super tight stop loss right now. Their earnings are coming up next week, August 7th. We've seen others just kill it on earnings. Will this one? Maybe. I don't know. I like it. Then you got yesterday, Trump taps bank CEOs for pitches on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac took off in pre-market. Fannie Mae up 16%. Freddie Mac up 19%. This was one I brought up. Hey, this is one, put it in your back pocket and just buy and hold it through this time, even though it was going down. Where are we trading in pre-market? You're at $9.33. Where did we go last? $10.72. You were all the way up to 11. If we just go and look at Fannie Mae right here, where's the 52-week range? 11.91. You're trading at $9.33 right now, even though you're up 16%. If this one goes public, expect it to be much, much higher. Now, I don't do options, but you know what? Ed Corona, the options oracle, he does. He's on Substack. I will post a link to this particular one in my in the newsletter. Okay, he doesn't have a paywall on this, but this is the example of what Ed does. He gives you a position overview, August 15, 2020, blah, blah, blah. He gives you the chart, technical, his take. Again, you can go and read his original one. He just got out of this with a 70% gain, 69.71. He's happy. 70% gain over that. Again, I don't do options. He makes me have a tremendous amount of FOMO that I don't do options. And now Chris does options and, he's gotten into it. I still have FOMO. I just need time to take to learn it. I'm just dumb. Honestly, I'm dumb. Now, KSS, Open Door, Kohl's, Open Door, Hims, others with short interest. This is a great video. Okay, a great video about Volkswagen. This was a short squeeze of all short squeezes. The current short squeezes don't even compare. Go and watch this 1 minute video and you'll see you want to get out, take profits. Because the second that short squeeze is over, it's too late. Go and watch this. And ironically, Stock Charts wants to become an affiliate of mine. I just haven't used their service, so I don't know it. But again, this is a great, great example. You should follow them on Instagram. Now let's talk about earnings. Rocket Company. I brought this one on last week. Might be a good buy if it can hold 15. What did they do? Posted killer earnings. You're close to 16. Rocket Mortgage. Again, is real estate coming back? This one popped up here all the way up after I brought it up as the entry right there, July 21st. 4-hour algorithm, this one popped up all the way to 1666. Where are you trading right now? $15.80. Is it one that you want to get back to? Because this one could go to $20. Again, the real estate market needs a solid economy to continue to grow. Rocket Mortgage, they said theirs was up based on loan originations. I mean, if interest rates go down, this is a company that will absolutely benefit with all those mortgages from the past few years at 6 and 7%. If you start to see interest rates on mortgages go down, which, by the way, isn't always a given because bond rates may go up. And if bond rates go up and we start to see the 30-year mortgage priced out, this will crash. So again, risk reward. I'm going to bring that up a lot because the final one, Apple, that I'm going to bring up, risk reward. Again, risk reward. This one, risky. It's a good company. Hold on. They think I'm a bot. For some reason with this Comet browser, Seeking Alpha thinks I'm a bot. But Rocket Mortgage, the valuation, crazy. 54 times earnings. 54 times forward earnings. But their growth, phenomenal. Revenue growth going forward, they're expecting 23%. So this one might be a good one to buy. Again, 4-hour algorithm makes you 21%. It doesn't lose you money. 40% if you just buy and hold. Is this one in an upward trajectory on the weekly? Well, like I said, that previous 15 right there, it provided resistance. Where you're trading right now, just above it. I'd want to see this one hold at 15 in order to see it go to 20 for at least a couple more weeks. And if the economy if Trump continues his chaos, maybe you see this one beaten down. Another big one, Reddit. Results tops, robust forecast, drives shares higher. This has been a high flyer. It was up 7% during trading yesterday, and it's up 15% in pre-market. Now, it's not near its 52-week high. It's right in the middle. 52-week high is $230. But it's expensive. The average price target on Wall Street, 155. You're trading in pre-market at 180. The quant has it as a hold, but it's had it as a hold for a very long time. The only issue is the valuation. You are going to pay up. But with their growth, their peg ratio is super low. So again, if they can continue to grow, you should see this one continue to skyrocket up. And this was an IPO that came out not too long ago. Let's see, it was March of last year. And you saw it shoot up. There's the all-time high at 223. You're at 180. And that MACD on the weekly, down. We don't have a 200-day on the weekly. How does the 4-hour algorithm trade? Well, you make 107% versus 217% in just 16 months. 13 positions, you win 54% of the time. Just got you in at 149. Again, why you don't, if this is a stock that you like, why you don't have the 4-hour algorithm, I don't know. Again, your toolkit better have things like this if you're trading a stock like that. Coinbase, they see Q3 subscription and services revenue growth target of up to $745 million as it expands exchange. And they just mentioned stable coins. That's a big one. Their initial reaction down 7%. In pre-market, you're down 10%. It's the valuation. The value, 67 times forward earnings. Their peg ratio is at 10. Again, crypto is a space that's really hot. The revisions, they're bringing them down. So again, their earnings came out. But I'll point you to, look at how much this ran up into earnings. The 4-hour algorithm had you out with a 49% gain. And that was a buy back in June. That wasn't all the way back here in April where you could have bought it at 168. And FYI, you're trading at 377. So if you just bought here and said, you know what? I don't want to sell here on this 55% gain. I want to hold on to this. Okay. And I'm just going to buy more at this one when it tells me. And boy, When this one finally came out because it was valued and stretched, you made 142%. Again, it's not that this one is down 10% in pre-market. It's that it ran up so much. You have to know whether it's a trade or whether it's a buy and hold. And if it's a buy and hold, not a bad buy and hold, to be honest with you, because this one IPO'd just in May 2021 and it IPO'd at 429. That's probably where it's going. So again, know these things. Now, one that I want is Cloudflare. Issued better than expected Q3 and the guidance was up. It's down 4%. How can that be? Well, look at the run that it's been on. The valuation, 260 times forward earnings. The PEG ratio, 10. It wants to be under 2. Has it gotten too hot? Probably. But again, when you're up that much, if you're upset about a 4% loss because of earnings or a 5% loss, you're not looking at these charts. And would I sell Apple if it ran up like this and then pulled back? Damn well no, I sold Apple at 260 when it sold up like that back in December. I did. So you have to know what you're actually holding. I held Microsoft into earnings. I held Microsoft for 10 years. I've been over that one. Roku, they beat and they pulled back. They beat and guided higher. It was a really good quarter. They're down 5%. Why? Because look at the April low right here where the algorithm got you in. Just with the algorithm got you in, 64%. If we anchor that lower, that's a 75% gain in 119 days. So again, know what you're holding as you go into earnings. Know that it can go down. If it goes down 5%, that's not a big deal if you're up 80, 90, 100%. Now, Apple's not. Apple was actually down 18% this year, and they killed it. They blew things away, but understand that was against low Wall Street expectations. This was their best quarterly year-over-year growth, with iPhone sales up 13%, China up 14% or up 4%, which again, China was negative. We're actually growing in China. So what am I looking at in Apple? It's my largest position. And again, this podcast is all about me. I'm looking at support at 200. I would not expect this to be a $260 stock. Look at it run up into December. Yes, I sold in December. That went from 227 to 260. And with that move and 5% growth year over year, I said, you know what? This is people driving this one up towards the end of the year, and then they're going to sell it. And they sold it. Any good portfolio manager was selling in December, and it hasn't recovered. So I don't expect this to be a $260 stock, which is where I want it to be, until sometime next year. But why would I even think about holding this? Well, this was a great earnings period. Upcoming Siri improvement. We have the iPhone 17. Probably a couple of other announcements. It's probably, if we go into a bad market, guess where people are going to be putting their money? Because $200 is a very, very good price for this stock. With the amount of money and the amount of growth that they just posted, $200 is a super value. Again, risk reward. Will this outpace the market? I don't. In a down market, I think this one holds up better. In an up market, no freaking way. But if we're heading into a downturn, I'm fine holding this one. This might be safety for most investors. And by the way, if people start going into this one, guess what? The price goes up. And so Apple outlined mid to high single-digit revenue growth for Q4 2025, driven by AI investment and record iPhone, Mac, and services performance. So again, risk reward. Now let's talk about Amazon. They posted a powerhouse quarter. It was phenomenal. No, they didn't announce a prime increase like I thought, which would have added to the bottom line, which probably would have taken the stock up. The stock is down 8% in pre-market. Now, did this one run up into earnings? It has been a good run from 185. But again, when you take a look at the weekly, and I've pointed this out many times, you go back to the high of 2021, it's 186. That has provided a resistance and a semi-support. If you can get this under 188, it's a great price. But again, has it outpaced the market? It's been dead money if you bought in 2021, which I did. I bought some in 2021, but you know what? No, I also bought in 2022, and I also bought in 2023. I don't think I bought in 2024, and I haven't bought in 2025. Why is Bezos selling so much? Maybe he knew something, because they eyed the profit outlook and the big spending on the AI arms race. They didn't care about Google's spend. They didn't care about Microsoft's spends. They care about Amazon's. And what are analysts saying? You can read all that in Seeking Alpha. You can read exactly what they're saying. So you want to know what you have. Now, Exxon and Chevron, Exxon is in the core portfolio. And I've said this many times before. In a good market, this is a $120 stock. It's trading at $110. Do you want to buy it? I don't think so. Both had Exxon and Chevron reported this morning. You can go check it out on Earnings Hub if you want. They had great quarters. Chevron, their revenue missed by 2%. Not a huge deal. Their earnings per share missed by or beat by 4.12%. Exxon beat on both. But here's the thing you have to know. They beat based on production, not oil prices. And I believe oil prices will do nothing but go down because we're producing so much and OPEC is pouring so much into the markets. So I don't think that you see these start to soar. Again, know what you own. So the overall market, what am I seeing? Okay, what am I doing? Nothing. Right now, VOO is down 1%. We're seeing earnings that companies are beating, guiding higher, but many companies are either they can't hold the gains in the stock market because they've run up, or they're using the uncertainty to pull or level set their guidance, and that's the issue. So do I expect another rip-roaring rally here? Probably not. You know, Trump issued the tariffs. Trump's fine with it at all-time highs. That's the issue. And again, when you're doing this, you have to know what you hold. You have to know where you're at. Alpha Picks beats the portfolio. They haven't told me to sell anything. This is the simplest portfolio. And again, I went back and looked at Apple versus this in VOO. You know, again, if you bought July 1st, 2022, you're up 68% in VOO. That's great. But the Alpha Picks portfolio, 200%. And they tell you when to sell. You buy on the 1st and the 15th. We're going to have one at noon today. I think this portfolio is a great portfolio. I also think Seeking Alpha with their quant rating gives you the ability to understand the stocks that you hold. And then with my 4-hour algorithm and all the other tools in TrendSpider, you've got the perfect tool set to manage your expectations. And if something is keeping you up at night, it means you haven't researched it. It means you're uncertain. The certainty that comes with me being at all-time highs, holding all of this stock, and even, dipping through 10% kind of downturns and stuff, I've done my research. I know exactly where I want to buy, where I want to hold, and where I want to sell. And that's how I achieved financial independence, retire early. And here's a tip for you, a 24-minute discussion. Go and Google the 4% rule. Okay, this guy right here, Bill Bergen, talks with Ben Carlson. This guy, Bill Bergen, he's the one that came up with the 4% rule. And there's a big debate in the fire community right now. Does the 4% rule still hold up? Maybe he answers that question. I haven't listened to this one. It's going to be my weekend listening. And I want to talk to you about what you should be doing this weekend. Okay? The first thing is in Seeking Alpha at 3 p.m. Every week, there's a thing that comes here. It's a Catalyst Watch email. Okay? It comes out at 3 p.m. on Friday. If you want, you can just go in here and type in Catalyst. Okay? And you're going to hit more for see all results. And then you're going to hit headlines. And Catalyst Watch will come up. Right there. There's a Catalyst Watch. And you can read it. You can read the Catalyst Watch. I want you to do that. Okay? The second thing I want you to do is to go into your alpha picks right here if you're a subscriber. There is a thing called a holding percentage. Okay? It's updated after every night. So it will be updated tonight, tomorrow. Make sure you're following the portfolio percentage if you want to follow the portfolio. Because this gain comes with following the portfolio. If your percentages are out of whack of what you hold, say it's $50,000 that you want in alpha picks, make sure the percentage of each stock is set. That's the second thing. The third thing I want you to do is go over to TrendSpider and go to your brokerage holdings. I have mine right there. This is the core investments. Go through them. Okay? Understand where the charts are. Understand where the support is. You will see on most of these stocks that I own, I have support and resistance lines. Previous highs, previous lows. Go and find them. You can even use Sidekick to try and tell you. Sidekick, it's the new AI stuff. If you don't have it, it's coming to you. You can ask where the support and resistance is. Maybe it'll pull up like that. I don't have all the tools for it, but maybe it will. Maybe it can look at this chart and say, hey, where's the support and resistance right there? But I want you to understand, if you've got a stock like Google here, that's button hooking. Okay? It's button hooking. It hit 198 and pulled down. If it's button hooking, do you want to trim? Do you want to sell? Is it an all-time high? Are stocks still in an upward trend? That's what you should do. Number 4, have any of your stocks changed thesis? Did the earnings just come out and a stock that you hold is not growing the way you wanted it to? And the stock is pulling back more than you'd like. If the thesis has changed, if it's hit your price target, understand you have work to do. And number 5, which is probably the most important, create your watch lists, okay? Put 4 or 5 stocks in. This doesn't mean add 4 or 5 stocks to your portfolio. It might be a stock that's currently in your portfolio that has been performing well and you like. But what if these stocks pull back 5 or 10%? No questions asked, you should have a watch list of stocks that you're going to buy. And you want to know what price. That's where the charts come in. Maybe you're just following the 4-hour algorithm on it. You know, Costco, great example. Look at this slide in Costco. Is Costco on your list? Maybe Walmart's on your list. This one, it has been going nowhere. Maybe this is one that you want to add to. Again, I don't know what your stocks are. I have my own watch list. There's 5 things that you should be doing this weekend. Catalyst Watch email, adjust your Alpha Picks portfolio, scan for stocks in your portfolio or even new stocks. Have stocks, go to your journal and have stocks. Has any of the thesis changed now that we're almost through earnings? And create your watch list. That's it. And that's the entire show. So I will probably have a paid newsletter for the subscribers this weekend. Again, the paid newsletter, I put out a bunch this week. Make sure you're watching the energy stocks that I put out there. I put out this look at Poet so you can look at it. And this AI one had 1 stock. It's up. It's dipping again. It's probably another buy for me. But it's a stock that Perplexity found that I really, really, really like, and I'm adding to it. So if you have any questions, hit me up. talk to me. It's all on Linktree. Any link that you want. The tools, TrendSpider, Seeking Alpha. My email address is up here in the right. The newsletter, Webull. My Webull account has dipped down. This is all risk on. And let's see. My Webull account is at 13,400. Remember, it was at 13,800 yesterday. So, again, if you've got any questions, hit me up. I will see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.